If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. That's right, we are the funniest movie ever, and we will rock you. Today, we're talking Dodgeball. We're back in the TFME recording studio. It's a new year. Let's see if we remember how to do this. Chaps, how are you? What's new and what are you watching?
I am just dandy Rip. Happy New Year to all the listeners out there. Thank you for following along with our journey and into 2025. I have watched a laundry list of movies since we last spoke. So I think we agreed prior to jumping on the mics that we were going to kind of just list them off, and then you'll pick one from what I watched over the break. I'll pick one. Well, we predetermined what we're going to talk about for you. So we'll go from there. I have been watching tons of shit. I think I have like 12 movies or something. I'll just list them off in the order that I watched them since, what was it, Home Alone was our last recording. So iRobot, The Santa Claus 2, Home Alone 2, 28 Days Later, Elf, Red One, The Big Short, Cuckoo, Sonic the Hedgehog, Nosferatu, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
There is no pattern there. It is just madness.
Right?
It's just madness.
I was looking back at my letterbox. I'm like, what a weird collection of movies that I've watched since our last recording.
Okay. I'm really torn because what I want you to talk about isn't what I expect listeners to want to listen to. So,
well, what would that be? Tell them.
I also watched iRobot.
Oh, it's so good.
But tell me about Nosferatu.
Okay, Nosferatu. Wow, what a movie. Just, I don't know, like it's really hard to put into words because it's just really like gorgeous to look at, the movie in general. The story I'm like not as like fussed about, but just damn, like as a movie, like it looks amazing. It sounds incredible. The cast is stellar. The acting's phenomenal. But again, it's just like it's a vampire love story. Okay, so I guess it actually is not just for the listeners. I also kind of wanted to pick this one because with it being the end of the year and all, or start of the new year, you kind of ended on a movie in a genre that when we first started this whole thing, you weren't really into. You were just kind of like creeping into it, right? I'm not typically into the horror movies. You're right. There's actually another horror movie on that list, Cuckoo. I watched that. It's a Hunter Schafer movie. Not that, it was terrible. But yeah, I'm like getting more and more into horror movies. Like my partner, she's like warming me up to them. Like what did we start with? We started with like Sleepy Hollow, which not that scary. And then like we did Evil Dead Rise and like It and stuff like that. Again, not very scary. We haven't really put to the test like the things I am afraid of, which is like ghosts and possessions and demons and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. Like a movie like Sinister, I don't really have an inclination to watch.
Yeah.
Because that looks terrifying. And 100%. I have seen it before and it scared the shit out of me. But Nosferatu, like in terms of scary, it wasn't really like, it had jump scares for sure. The overall like atmosphere of the movie is like unsettling, I guess, but it's not super horror in my opinion. Like I would just call it like it's just a dark gothic movie, and it was sick because of the atmosphere and the aesthetic and vibe and stuff.
Okay, so let me paint a picture of what my issue is with horror movies and why I want to know whether or not you think I could watch this.
Yes.
Say I caught a 10 p.m. screening of this movie. Right. I drive home into my big empty house.
Yeah.
It's pitch black. Mm-hmm. Am I sleeping that night?
Nosferatu's coming for you. Yeah, we saw it during the day. I would say if you're like new to horror movies, yeah, go see it during the day. Don't go see a 10 p.m. showing and get home at the fucking witching hour.
The witching hour.
You know?
Or like go home and watch like 3 hours of Recess or something.
Watch something nice. You need that palate cleanser afterwards. You put on a comedy, throw on a little bit of Dodgeball or something like that.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Okay. Now quickly tell me about iRobot.
Okay, iRobot, man. We must have been walking home the one night and we started talking about iRobot and I watched it that night. It is so good. It's just like that early 2000s sci-fi, and it's back when Will Smith was like still killing it. And he's just so charismatic and like
I can't describe what's changed with Will Smith, but if I was trying to explain the difference in how I see him now versus like back then, that's the movie that I would use as an example.
Yeah, it's iRobot and I Am Legend. Like those two movies, like I Am Legend is just him the whole time.
Yeah.
And like if you don't like that kind of movie, you're not going to like that movie. But everyone loves I Am Legend. I, Robot as like just a sci-fi movie. Is it based off a book? I don't know. It probably is. It's just really good. Like the whole idea, like the 3 laws of robotics, and a robot cannot harm a human if it impedes with the first and second law. All of that shit, I just eat it up.
I eat it up too. And
it's such a sci-fi nerd.
It makes me laugh so hard because it's like, I don't want to say like a dumb person's idea of like a smart, like, you know what I mean? Like the laws, it's like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. And I feel smart for understanding that. But like it also kind of is.
Yeah.
But in the perfect way where it's just enough for you to not go into the weeds thinking about whether or not it makes sense. You just accept it and you just move on and you just enjoy the movie.
That's what I love about it too, because it's got that feeling of, and I feel like this is something movies aren't doing properly these days. Like they're giving the audience too much setup and this stuff. They're not just like starting the movie and being like, this is the world we live in, and like just accept it and come along for the ride. Because I don't know, I love figuring those things out as you go, and like, oh wow, like that little interesting tidbit of like, when you first meet the doctor guy, it's actually a hologram, and like because it starts to ask you, you're not asking the right questions. I forget his name,
and he like walks around to the side so you can see it's a hologram.
Exactly,
I'm like, that's a good reveal.
It's what you also just kind of said. One of the funny lines from it, like you all said it. Makes you feel dumb smart. What's he say to the doctor? He's like, "You're the dumbest smart person I know." Like Will Smith's killing it in this movie, and it's fantastic.
It's good stuff for sure.
There's one more thing I do want to touch on that I love. It's a trope in these sci-fi movies. It's when they have self-driving cars and the guy decides to drive himself.
I love that.
And everyone around him's like, "What are you doing? That's the craziest thing you could do is manually drive." Like, and Will Smith's like, "No, I got this."
In a similar vein, I also like when it's like futuristic settings, like iRobot. And then the guy like walks into his garage and he throws the tarp off of a motorcycle.
Yeah, he's got some classic antique car or vehicle underneath it. Oh, it's so good. I think that happens. Is that like in Minority Report?
I feel like that's in Minority Report. I can see Tom Cruise on one for sure, right? That's so funny. Not unlike what we were just discussing, how iRobot kind of like commits to the bit, not even the bit, commits to the premise.
Yeah.
Red One.
Yeah. Oh,
let's talk Red One.
Tell me what you thought about it.
I loved it. I feel like I don't know. Is that like a hot take or not? I can't tell if people like this movie or not.
Around our friend group, it seemed like there was only one person who didn't really enjoy it. But when I was looking into it online, like what people were saying, it seems like critics don't love it, which is a given. Like these kind of movies shouldn't be reviewed by critics. Yeah. This should just be like, what does the audience think of these movies? And that's it. Like this is not a critic movie.
Yeah. It's like, you know what, as a critic, like take like the general movie public, like going public or whatever. Just ask like people walking out of the movie, "Oh, did you like it?" And then it's like, "Oh, that's what the poll was for that critic."
I like that. Yeah, that'd be a good idea for them to do. But you're right. It is one of those movies that it doesn't do a lot of setup. It kind of just drops you into this world where and Red One spoilers for next Christmas, basically. This idea that the U.S. government knows about Santa Claus. And like he has a motorcade and it's all white, and like he loves to do these excursions to malls to like meet with the public and get a sense of like what's going on out there. Just so damn good.
Right? And it doesn't like bonk you over the head with exposition. It's just kind of like, look, this is all of it, accept it. And there's a really good part where I think The Rock is like, he just explains it to Chris Evans in one simple like sentence. He's like, "No, it doesn't work for everything." Like,
right, that you're talking about the little ray gun thing he has that turns toys to realistic objects.
Yeah, right. Like
Chris Evans wants a Wonder Woman.
Yeah, like the law of twos and threes. Like, what is it? He says 2 facts, and the third one's like, "No, you can't touch it," or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And at that moment, you're just like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, I accept that. I'm in. Like, let's go."
I also really loved how they address there's always the notion like there's no way Santa Claus could do it all in one night. I love the way they address that in this movie, and it's as if like J.K. Simmons is playing Santa Claus and he's training all year round to be Santa Claus. He's putting up, what was it, like 1,000 pounds or something like that? Like he's benching tons of weight and he's doing parkour training. And then at the very end you get, and again, huge Red One spoilers, but you get that shot of like, here's how Santa Claus would do it in our world. And he's like parkouring house to house. He's dropping into chimneys. If he breaks an ornament, they have like this huge helicarrier thing in the air that sends down a replacement ornament to like make it like he's never been there, and he's like refueling with the cookies, and he's like an extreme athlete in this, and it's super cool.
It's great. At first I was kind of like, I need a fat Santa Claus, but I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it's J.K. Simmons. Like he fully sold me on it.
He crushed it. So good.
For sure.
Did you have any other like big favorite moments of that movie?
I mean, can we talk Krampus?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Krampus.
So good. Whoever played him knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. It was really funny when you're like, oh, where are they going to go? And then you remember, oh yeah, you do know of another character in this world. It's Krampus. Oh, it's so good.
Again, like super predictable movie. Like we get a ton of rockisms. I don't care. I had fun. Shut up.
And that's all it is. Like that movie is purely like, this is just a have fun with the family kind of movie, right? And I'm all here for that.
Yeah. Did you watch it on your own?
I did watch it on my own. Yeah. I could not convince my partner to watch it with me.
I watched it with my family. They let me pick. I got a rip choice. I put that on and everybody else zoned out. And the whole time I'm just like sitting there with a giant grin. And I'm like, oh, I told you guys it was going to be Krampus. And they're like, what?
Wait, this is still on?
What movie is this? Yeah.
So good. Did you watch anything else over the break that was really notable for you?
Again, like a ton of Christmas movies. My partner and I, we started the Before trilogy like a couple months back. And by started the trilogy, we watched one of the three.
Yeah.
So that was our first like movie of 2025.
The second one or
the following two? Yeah.
How did you like those?
I really liked it. The third one kind of bummed me out. With these kind of movies, I think it's like similar to I showed my sister Office Space when she was like a teenager, and she's like, I don't get it. This is stupid. And I think these movies have the same effect where it all depends where you are in your life.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like the first and second one are like good fun, but then, you know, as we both creep towards like 40s.
Yeah, the age that he is in the last one kind of thing.
Yeah, you're kind of like, oh, fuck, I really hope this isn't what's to come. But then like you can kind of see like a sneak peek of it and like the possibility. Well, I hope not for both of us, but you can, you know what I mean? Like it starts to become more real and then you're kind of like, why did I watch this movie?
I really like the Before movies. The first one's really like, I don't know, captures that traveling notion that anything can happen, right? It does it really well. It reminds me of another movie. It's kind of different, but it's Midnight in Paris.
I've seen that.
Yeah, with Owen Wilson. I love that. It's like a fantastical, almost like, yeah, this would probably never happen, but here we go kind of thing, right? Well, obviously, Midnight in Paris doesn't happen because he meets up with old writers and stuff.
I mean,
like
it
that.
Could happen. Who knows?
True. I've never been to Paris at midnight, so. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is we both love this guy, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Okay.
He's doing a new project.
Okay.
I want you to just take like a wild guess what you think it is. Like, what do you think he's doing next?
A disco biopic.
You're almost there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, almost. Only the disco part is kind of right because apparently he is adapting The Warriors for Broadway.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, I am completely here for that because I love The Warriors as a movie, like when I was a kid, and the video game and all that stuff. Like, I think he will do a really good job with it.
That's so wild. I cannot. Like, I guess he must have like grown up with that movie or something. Like, I feel like that's
like
so
a 70s
random for
movie,
him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing, okay, this is just, we kind of touched on it earlier. It's more of a question.
Okay.
Just because we've been talking about Pluto TV a lot.
We have been, yes.
Recently. And ever since I found it, I've had it on in the background and stuff like that. And this is just a question. Like, would you log the movies that you're watching on Pluto TV in the background on like your letterbox? Like, do they count towards your like watching of the year? Or do you think you should just be fully invested in the movie for it to count towards like logging on your letterbox account?
Interesting. I think I would take the same approach I take when I get high and I watch movies.
Right.
Did I remember what I just watched?
Okay.
So, for example, if you're like doing dishes and stuff and you're not really paying attention, like
then no,
if you haven't seen it before, like, do you think you could explain what happened to me?
Right. Gotcha. No, that's a good way to put it because the other night, The Big Short is on my list and it was playing on Pluto TV and I forget what I must have been playing on the computer or something like that. I stopped doing what I was doing on the computer and just watched The Big Short.
Yeah,
it's such a good movie. Yeah. So I love this. Pluto TV is great for that stuff in the background and just also like I don't have to think about what I'm going to put on.
I do love that. Yeah, I mean, like I'm happy I have all the like streaming services because I can watch whatever I want whenever I want.
Yeah,
but at the same time, like sometimes like if I don't know, I want to throw something off and shut my brain off and just like kind of catch up on my phone or something. It's nice to just be like, oh look, there's like a King of Queens that's halfway started.
Exactly. Yeah, I love the dropping into something that like as I dropped into like John Wick was like halfway through. I'm like, oh great, I don't have to watch the sad puppy part anymore. Like it's just let's just watch him do all the action stuff, and that was really good.
No, it's great. It's definitely scratching my cable itch because like I have had cable most of my adult life. Like we only recently stopped paying for it.
Right.
That's nice. All right, you ready to dive in?
Yes.
All right. When we're back, we're doing Dodgeball.
1954, a simpler time.
Dodgeball is a sport of violence, exclusion, and degradation.
A more innocent time.
Make sure you pick the bigger, stronger kids for your team. That way, you can all gang up on the weaker ones. Oh, you're out for a dodgeball!
Today, there are those who are born to be champions.
Here at Globo Gym, we're better than you, and we know it.
And then, there are these guys.
Boom, 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 boom.
Do you know why I'm here?
Now, do you mean cosmically?
You have 30 days to pay off your mortgage or you lose your gym.
Who'd want to buy this place anyway? Okay, we can't just let Globo Gym take us over. If there was any way in the world we could raise $50,000, we could play dodgeball.
Line up, ladies! The name's Patches O'Houlihan. And I'm your new coach. You gotta get angry!
Guess I'm not really an angry person. Are you angry now?
Okay, we're back. Here's the George format for you. We're going to start with casting. We will dissect the movie, discuss our final thoughts, and then I'm going to switch things up a bit on you. I have a fun little game for you to play before we hit our funniest scenes.
Okay.
Then we will declare an MVC, that's most valuable comic. Finally, since this is our first pod of the year, we will end things off with some movie resolutions.
Yeah, I'm excited for the movie resolutions. And the talk about the movie as well. But like, when you brought up the idea of doing movie resolutions, like that's a really cool idea. Let's do that.
All right, let's get going. Casting. As you know, I am a massive Ben Stiller fan. I could talk about this guy's career for hours, so naturally we will save him for last.
Is he your favorite actor, or is that Tom Hanks?
That's Tom Hanks.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's do Vince Vaughn as Peter LaFleur. So Swingers comes out in 1996. According to his IMDb, he did a few things before this, but I think it's fair to say like this was his first big project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like it.
But I don't think it's until 2004 like he really arrives.
Would his first big project not be Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World?
I haven't seen that movie in so long. Does he play a big role in that?
Not really. He's like a random character role. He is like paired with Ian Malcolm.
Okay.
And he's supposed to just be the photographer, but then like halfway through the movie, it turns out he's like a ex-CIA like agent. He's like, yeah, they thought things might get hot here. It's time for me to like go to work. Kind of.
See, like I can see him in the movie, but I'm racking my brain. Like, what the fuck does he do?
Yeah,
okay,
like
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. It's actually really funny the way they do that with him, and it's so strange.
Okay, so 2004, he does Starsky and Hutch.
Mm-hmm.
He's great in that. Sneaky funny movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anchorman, he's Wes Mantooth.
Yep.
You keep Dorothy Mantooth's name out of your mouth.
Yeah. A great character bit in that one.
And Dodgeball. 2005, Be Cool. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen Be Cool.
It's John Travolta.
No, I haven't seen it.
That doesn't matter. Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the guy in the chair in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right?
He's the guy in the chair. And then Wedding Crashers as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Another classic Vince Vaughn movie.
2006, he does The Breakup. This kind of like ends a nice little run he has, right? Then I don't know. I always thought of him as like an all-time comedic actor, which I guess goes to show how much of an impact movies like Dodgeball and Wedding Crashers had on me.
They were
Because
huge.
from 2006 onwards, he doesn't really have many hits.
Are you forgetting about The Internship?
So hang on, okay. Hang on.
You got to put it on the line.
You got to put it on the line. So post 2006, he does Fred Claus, Four Christmases, Couples Retreat, The Dilemma, The Watch. Then in 2013, he teams up with Owen Wilson again for The Internship, which is very much a movie that should have been made 10 years prior.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
but I actually really enjoy The Internship, and I also really like The Watch. Like those are.
You've said that before.
I don't mind. I like The Watch. The Watch isn't bad. And what's the other couple that you mentioned?
Couples Retreat is okay.
And Couples Retreat's okay. Yeah.
The Dilemma. Do you know that one?
I can't remember The Dilemma.
I think that's him and Kevin James, and he's.
Yeah.
The dilemma is I think he has to tell Kevin James that his wife's cheating on him with I want to say Channing Tatum.
Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out.
Sure. I just have like an image in my head of them at like a Blackhawks game because I think he's like a big Hawks fan, right?
Maybe.
Sure. Then in 2015, he does True Detective Season 2, which I did not see. Did you see that?
I saw True Detective Season 2, and it was not as good as Season 1.
Okay, but like, was it good? I mean, Season 1's like all time, right?
And that's the problem with the True Detective series is like you're putting it up against that the entire time, and it's always going to fall flat for me.
Yeah, that's fair. So I mean, I guess like he settled into a role too on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't think you watched that.
I don't
do
watch
you?
Curb.
Yeah, so I mean that's not bad. Like when you're teaming up with Larry David, just kind of shooting the shit, and like that's pretty successful in my opinion. And then last but not least, he has a show on Apple called Bad Monkey, which I've seen a couple episodes of. He's like a retired detective.
Is this newer?
Yeah, it is.
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I think it just got renewed for season 2. I think he's like out in the Florida Keys. He's like either a retired detective or he's like a off the case kind of detective.
I love detectives in Florida Keys. Like that's like a
The Keys is cool.
That's like a niche like genre. But there's like Bloodlines. I think was like a detective.
And then we
movie
just
in the
had
Florida Keys. Show.
The new Roadhouse was out there too,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah. Like the Florida Keys. Like you never know. Like those alligators are going to get you.
never know, yeah.
That's a lot of gators down there.
Anyway, all that to be said, like that's just going through his filmography. You know, that's not what I had in my mind. You know, the way his career played out.
Yeah, in my head, when I think back on Vince Vaughn, like the first thing you always remember about Vince Vaughn is best wink of all time.
Best wink of all time.
He's got the best wink of all time. It's hands down. Vince Vaughn wins it. There's no other contenders.
Absolutely.
And then the second one is like you just remember him being a comedy staple in your childhood.
Yeah.
Like teens, right?
Yeah, so exactly what I said, right? I mean, just the impact that those movies from 2004 to 2006 had on you. You look back and you're like, oh yeah, Vince Vaughn, like all-time comedic actor, and it's like, oh, he hasn't really done much in like 20 years.
You should rethink that.
That's a shame. Okay, other cast include Justin Long,
Yes.
Ben Stiller's wife, but for
Who's Ben Stiller's wife in this movie?
Kate.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I don't know who's together in Hollywood. I don't know any of this stuff.
Anyway, for time's sake, I want to talk Stiller here.
Yeah.
So Ben Stiller is White Goodman. Stiller is the son of legendary actor Arthur Spooner. I mean Jerry Stiller. He has a very long filmography, so we won't go into the weeds here for time's sake. Instead, because his performances here especially are all time, I want to strictly talk Stiller comedies with you.
Mm-hmm. One thing before you dive into those, it's interesting that you went with Arthur Spooner and not Frank Costanza.
Oh, that is interesting.
That's
actually,
very interesting to me. You've been watching a lot of King of Queens.
I have been watching a lot of King of Queens. That's absolutely why. Damn, that really escaped me.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, in 1995, he stars in Heavyweights as Tony Perkins.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen Heavyweights? Okay, so I recently watched this for the first time, and I only really mention this because his character isn't dissimilar from White Goodman in this movie.
Okay.
In fact, like you have to assume, I think, a lot of inspiration for White Goodman comes from Tony Perkins, since they're both this like out of touch, over the top asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. Huge.
Who, in the end, kind of goes on to lose to like a group of misfits when it really matters. Strong parallel there. I would think you would agree. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I agree.
1998. There's Something About Mary releases.
Yeah.
Do you remember much of this movie?
I haven't seen it in years.
Stars Johnny Drama's brother, the more successful Dylan.
Oh shit. You mean Dallas from The Outsiders?
So this is a classic from the Farrelly brothers. Here we get what I like to call Safe Stiller.
Safe Stiller. Okay.
He's the classic poor schmuck straight man playing type A, a more timid type guy, right?
Yeah, he's that in like almost every movie, except for Dodgeball.
So listen closely. I mentioned it because it's just funny to me how he's able to play both sides of the spectrum here, right? So he's clearly mastered Safe Stiller. But then in my favorite roles of his, he cranks it up the crazy to like a fucking 1,000. And he becomes this sort of like animated, dumb, but always like successful man-child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He becomes this person that you just wish you'd never have to interact with in your life.
So he's like Silly Stiller. So we get Safe Stiller and Silly Stiller, right?
I would call him douchebag Stiller.
Right. Well,
not silly, like because like White Goodman's not exactly silly as much as he is an asshole.
Okay, but let's take a closer look, and I'll try and explain what I mean by silly. Then
I feel like silly is like more so like someone that's innocently like being goofy and stuff. You know?
Hang on. Okay, so let's look at his movies closer. So in 2000, he's Greg Fokker in Meet the Parents.
Right.
Safe Stiller.
Yeah.
2001, he plays Derek Zoolander. Would you call him kind of an asshole douchebag?
I would call him a bit of a moron.
He's silly. He's silly still.
But see, Zoolander though still isn't as much of a dick and douche as White Goodman is.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not saying like asshole Stiller. Like he's like.
Oh, are you saying White Goodman's asshole Stiller?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. See, I thought you were
exception.
I thought you were putting White Goodman in the silly camp. My bad.
Well, if there's two camps, he's definitely more silly than he is safe.
I think there has to be 3.
You think White Goodman just gets his own category?
Well, White Goodman and this Tony Perkins guy you brought up at the beginning of the show.
Fair enough. Okay. 2004, he's Safe Stiller again with Along Came Polly.
Yeah.
And Starsky and Hutch also again, 2004. That's also the year we get White Goodman, which I guess falls into asshole.
Yeah. Yes.
But then I guess 2008 is Tropic Thunder. What do you consider that?
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Like,
he's not quite asshole Stiller now.
He's definitely not safe. You know what I mean?
No, he's not. That movie is not safe.
I don't know. I guess all of that to say, I'm just really trying to drive home. Like, I don't know if range is the right word because he's not winning an Oscar for any of these roles.
Then you see him in like something like Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and he plays this really interesting sort of like scared to do anything kind of character, and his arc is like,
Would you say that's safe, Stiller?
Yeah, it's a bit safe, but like it's still showing more range than anything he ever did in like Meet the Parents and stuff like that. It's more drama. It's more heartfelt.
Fair enough. Lastly, I want to touch on the Night at the Museum movies because I'm not familiar with them at all. What is Stiller doing in these?
Sorry, you just kind of blew my brain for a second. You claim to be a big Ben Stiller fan, but you've not seen any of the Night at the Museum movies.
So my impression of these is like
these movies are right up your alley.
Are they? So let me hang on. Let me explain myself. Because you put me on the hot seat here. My impression of these movies have always been like they're kids movies. Are they not?
You love kids movies. What are you talking about? We just finished talking about Red One, which is arguably
a kids movie.
Arguably, it could be. Okay.
How dare you?
I guess it's a bit kiddish. It's just it's more like National Treasure.
Okay.
In terms of like National Treasure is also a kids movie.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's rated G. Okay.
Yeah. I think you would really like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna watch it.
It's got some really great moments with the T-Rex.
Okay.
And
Night at the Museum spoilers.
Yeah, the T-Rex and the Easter Island head is really funny in it as well, and of course the monkey.
Okay.
Classic.
That's good stuff.
Robin Williams is also in those movies. And he's a gem, absolute joy to watch.
Right on. So before we move on, then, what Stiller is he
in that one?
Yeah.
I want to say safe, silly.
Okay, safe, silly, just not asshole.
Not asshole.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, he plays a bit of a deadbeat dad, but he's trying. He's trying to get a job to support his kid and shit.
That trope.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I want to finish off casting with a quick mention though of the writer-director Rawson Marshall Thurber. First of all, wicked name. If he didn't sell this script, he easily could have sold the rights to his name to The Rock. You could totally see him doing an action movie with that name, right? I want to mention Thurber because the story behind this movie getting made is wild. Are you familiar with this at all?
I'm not.
So I've read bits and pieces before over the years, like on social media and such. But I will shout out The Ringer for doing a deep dive. If anyone is curious and wants to know more, check out their article by Jake Kring Schreifels, dated June 2024. So let's start with the fact that this is this guy's first ever script.
I love that.
Super impressive. However, I will also say at the same time, he was working for screenwriter John August, who it always helps to have a guy like that. Yep. For those who don't know, like Charlie's Angels, Big Fish.
Yeah, he hosts the pod Script Notes with Craig Mazin.
He does. Great pod. So Thurber mentions that he wrote the script with Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn in mind for their roles.
I kind of love that.
Like, sorry, what?
I kind of like that's yeah.
Just go for gold.
Yeah, he's like, these are the two. Well, I mean, you write it in mind with like he's probably seen Ben Stiller as Tony Perkins and was like, yeah, he's perfect for this role. And the Vince Vaughn of it all is like, this guy, Vince can play any schmuck Joe Blow guy and just make it instantly more charismatic and charming.
This is his bread and butter for sure. So Thurber finishes his script. It's 154 pages, and at the time it's called Underdogs.
154 pages?
Yeah. He buys 20 red rubber balls, writes Underdogs on each of them, drives his car around LA to all the big studios, and drops off a ball with a copy.
That's amazing. That's so gutty to put a 154-page script with your little, like, because I love the creativity of that idea. Like, that's awesome. But 154-page script, you're pushing shit like Titanic and like long-ass movies with that page count.
So eventually he drops off the script at Stiller's company, Red Hour, where he hands the script off to the receptionist, who hands it off to a junior exec, who flags it to Stiller, and essentially the rest is history.
Yeah.
Here we are talking about it on a podcast.
That's a similar story to like Blades of Glory. Like his Blades of Glory got into the hands of one of Ben Stiller's people, gave it to Ben, and then Ben made it happen.
Awesome. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to Google Ben Stiller's email address, and I'm just
I'm
going
going
to
to send him all my shit.
every single day, just send him all of my shit. Anyway, all of that being said, you ready to jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We kick things off with our main character intros for White Goodman and Peter LaFleur. White is portrayed through a sexy infomercial for Globo Gym. We see what he's all about. We get some fantastic quotes here, like, "We understand that ugliness and fatness are genetic disorders, much like baldness and necrophilia."
Yeah. It's funny, I had or necrophilia written down as a note here. And I'm like, I can't remember what that was attached to. I hope Rip says it.
That's a really good one. Personally, though, my favorite is, "We can turn that Frankenstein you see in the mirror every day into a Frankenfine."
That, and then there's also, during this infomercial, he has this weird maniacal evil laugh at one point. It's so strange. He's like, "We can make you look better." It's like, what?
I wish people could see your face right now because you nailed it.
But what I love about this infomercial, though, is like it feels like they kind of nailed the douchey gym influencer culture that is going on today, but back in 2004. And I'm like, wow, this is how I feel about like 90% of the people I see on Instagram Reels. Like, they're all assholes.
Like, nothing has changed.
Yeah.
I guess actually a lot has changed. It's gotten worse.
Yeah, no, there's more White Goodmans than ever before.
Peter LaFleur is portrayed here through his rundown apartment.
Yes.
His car won't start. He hasn't paid his water or hydro bills, and he's late on... and he's late to return the following DVDs: Drunken Hussies 3, Backdoor Patrol 5, and Mona Lisa Smile.
It's really funny when you think about this as a PG-13 movie and they're referencing porno tapes right off the bat. Within the first 5 minutes of the movie, it's a porno reference. I mean, that's for the parents at home, right? Obviously, so they can laugh at that. But I saw this movie when I was 12. I didn't know what any of that meant.
No, Backdoor Patrol 5 could easily be like the fifth installment of like a series of SWAT movies.
Sure. A series of SWAT movies.
Anyway, does any of this bother him? No, not at all. In fact, when he gets in his car and it starts, he says, "Today's going to be a good day." Anything else stand out here?
No, just like, other than that, yeah, this is a PG-13 movie, and I still have some questions about some of the stuff that happens.
I'm really surprised you missed this because you brought it up in a previous pod. There's a part here where Peter's getting ready to go to work.
Yeah.
He's brushing his teeth, and he rinses with Yoo-Hoo.
Oh, does he?
He does.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I guess Vince Vaughn and Adam Sandler are besties and both own stock in Yoo-Hoo.
It's either that or, I mean, Yoo-Hoo just had like a monopoly on like comedies. They're like, yeah, just have him drink one Yoo-Hoo. That's it. $20,000.
It probably is what happened. What I love about this intro is that it shows you the dynamic between these two. It's like, White Goodman is evil, and Peter LaFleur is like us. He's like an everyday guy, kind of just like, he just wants his car to start in the morning. Like, I mean, I don't have that problem, but like, I'm sure a lot of people do and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the contrast could not be clearer, right?
Yeah, and Vince Vaughn is just so damn charming that when he gets to his gym, when he gets to Average Joe's and he's interacting with all the other gym goers, it's just like, I want to be his friend. I want to go to the gym where Vince Vaughn is being like, listening to me talk about stupid shit that I like.
It's so funny you say that.
In.
So, I mean, yeah, let's arrive at Average Joe's gym here, right? Again, we're going to get another look at the kind of guy Peter LaFleur is through his actions with all of our supporting cast. Like you said, he's rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, like, he's so damn charming.
Yeah.
Like, he just walks around the room glowing and like bestowing this sort of like scrappy underdog wisdom like upon his customers.
Yep.
I'll run through each guy that we interact with here, and then maybe we save our thoughts for after.
Sure.
So first we meet Dwight. He's patrolling the gym in a headband and a whistle. So I guess he works there.
Yeah, I think he's like a personal trainer at the gym. I think that's sort of the vibe I'm getting, or staff. Of some
next
sort.
we meet Owen, who I think also works there. This makes me laugh because Peter walks in and he goes, "How is my tax shelter doing?" I assume Owen does the books, but what I've seen the rest of the movie, like, I wouldn't let this guy near my fucking books.
Yeah. I when you first mentioned Owen, I completely forgot who that was. I'm like, oh yeah, it's that guy, the weird awkward dude.
That's like his shtick,
who's
though, right?
somehow more awkward than Justin Long in this movie.
Yeah, like his whole shtick is to be forgotten, I think.
Yeah.
So he's having dating problems. He does a voicemail dating thing, I guess, and he hasn't got a single one back in 2 months, which if you're doing voicemail, like you're not getting a look at the guy. So it's like, what the fuck are you saying on that voicemail to not get a single call back?
he wants to help them do all their taxes in Canadian dollars.
Yeah. Okay, next is Gordon. He's shocking his glutes.
Yeah.
Then he's going to shock his biceps. Then do some cardio. You got to keep the body guessing.
I love Gordon. He's such a great character. Do you have any other people to introduce, or should we just?
I do. Okay, yeah. Well, we have Justin Long, of course, right? Yeah. He's lifting way too much weight so he can make the cheerleading squad to prove to the girl at school he's not a loser.
Yes.
Finally, save the best for last here. Peter's just casually strolling down the hallway to his office when, "Arg, Steve the pirate."
This is one of those parts of the movie where it never is explained, and it never needs to be.
It doesn't.
It's just like, yeah, of course there's some freaking weirdo named Steve the Pirate that works out at this gym. Why is a pirate working out? If you're a real pirate, you're plundering. Like you're not going to the gym. Like, what are you doing there, Steve? Come on, be in character, bro.
No one's going to believe me when I say it, but I've heard you say the word plunder many a times in my life. This is the most apt use of it.
This one fits.
This one fits. Okay, where do you want to start?
For me, like Dwight and Owen are fine, whatever. Like they don't really get a lot of.
Agreed. Move on.
But fucking Gordon and ESPN 8, the Ocho, caught a great round of amateur curling. And he's reading OSQ, Obscure Sports Quarterly magazine. And what is on the cover of Obscure Sports Quarterly?
I don't know what you're talking about. Nope.
If you've ever seen Wolf of Wall Street, there's a scene in that where
it's a good way of explaining it.
They throw stuff, and that's what it says on the cover of that magazine, and it's really fucked up.
So while we're on this note, I just want to point out the absurdity here of Gordon asking Peter if he caught the game.
Yeah.
And that's in reference to amateur curling. Like, the fucking goal of this guy.
You catch the game last night, Peter? What does he say back to him? He's like, "Oh, I bet you're going to tell me," or whatever.
Like, I know it's to drop the whole, like, ESPN 8, the Ocho, like, OSQ reference, because it's obviously needed to progress the plot. But this fucking guy, did you catch the game? Not football, not hockey. I would even accept soccer here.
Yeah, I would accept any sport other than amateur curling.
Even curling.
We're in Canada, I'd accept a real curling match.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would hope it's a real curling match. You hoser.
Love that.
Okay, let's do Justin Long. He's here because last year's tryouts, he got flattened by Martha Johnstone.
Yeah. This is really interesting because this movie uses a cutaway gag.
It does.
And it's like I'm trying to rack my brain for like any other movie of the time that does a cutaway gag, and it only does one cutaway gag. You think if you're setting this up as like a in-world thing, like you got to imagine that in that 154-page script, there was tons of cutaway gags.
It's so good. I mean, and the gag it's hilarious. It's an absolute banger of a visual. Him holding her above his head.
At first, you think he's going to nail it. Like, you think he's like, good luck, but if you got this, like, sick.
Like, they decided, I mean, it's a movie about dodgeball. They threw, like, reality out the fucking window.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that he gets her.
Yeah.
I couldn't lift Justin Long above my head.
Neither could I. I couldn't lift anyone above my head. That's insane.
Okay, last but not least, I do want to comment on Steve the Pirate because I think his dialogue is actually pretty good.
Oh, and it's I don't know if you didn't talk about him in casting, Alan Tudyk, right?
Yeah.
He's lovely. He's so great. Whatever he shows up in a movie, he's fantastic. I really enjoy him.
He's good. But before we move on, I do want to drop a Steve the Pirate quote here just to kind of like exemplify what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know any pirates personally, but I bought into the dialogue.
Yeah.
The dread pirate Steve be in no man's debt. I'll make a barter with you as true as the North Star. That sounds pretty piratey to me.
It was very piratey. Yeah. It's like, I'll split my treasure with you as soon as I find it.
Okay, moving on. We're introduced to our inciting incident here, otherwise known as Catherine Veach. They call her Kate, I guess.
Yes.
She'll, of course, play the love interest, but also reveals to us that Peter LaFleur and Average Joe's Gym is in foreclosure, since Peter clearly does not collect membership fees at all.
Well, she even says it. You haven't collected membership fees in 13 months.
So I love this because, she says to him,
wild.
Basically, you have 30 days to pay off the balance of the mortgage, $50,000, or he loses the gym. And he's just like, He's so cool and nonchalant about it. He pulls out his checkbook. Oh yeah, like of
He's like,
course,
how much
yeah,
you
sure.
want?
I have to move some money around. I can't donate to the charities I want to. The fucking audacity of this guy.
He's that typical like cliche of the guy who doesn't give a fuck. Like he doesn't have a care in the world. He just thinks it's all going to work out in the end, and it usually does for this kind of person.
God damn, he's so charming. Okay, so we're back at Globo Gym. We get a hilarious bit here of White Goodman squatting 230 pounds.
That's awesome. I did the math.
Did you
too.
pause it?
Yeah, I did the math.
It's a Smith machine, right?
Yeah,
that's what threw me off.
Well, because I was like, let's be like, what do we think he's squatting? And I was like, let's be liberal. Like those look like 45s. They might be 35s. I'm not sure. The others look like 10s and 5s.
And he's a pretty short guy too.
Yeah,
so I mean, you got to account for that, right?
I mean, that's a lot.
That's a
230 is a lot,
dude,
whether it's on a Smith machine or not.
Good for him. Yeah. So he's being spotted by his fitness consigliere, Michel.
This is a really funny thing because I never noticed how his name is spelt.
Until you put on the closed captioning?
No, I just caught it. It was on his name tag at one point, and it's me. It's literally M-E, Shell.
That's so funny. Anyways, yeah, he crushes 230 pounds to the point where he's getting involuntary spasms. Look at the show. Enjoy the show.
Get it out, squeeze it. Yeah. Come on. Get it out. Get it. Come on, one more, bitch. Yeah.
Now you're my bitch.
Yeah, baby.
Involuntary spasm. Look at the show. Enjoy the show.
Hilarious. So Peter shows up. We get our first interaction between him and White, and I guess we learn their history here.
You're skipping over one little like throwaway comment as White is like, I think one of his lackeys comes in and is like talking, like one of the gym workers, not his lackey. Yeah, might as well be his lackey.
Same thing.
And he says, add 3 pounds to the women's scales before you leave. It's like, real, what? That's fucked.
It's so fucked up. I do want to talk about the history here between the two because I'm like racking my brain trying to figure out why White hates him so much. It seems to me like all that happened was Peter slept with 3 of his personal trainers.
Yeah.
And then maybe sent him a mail like strippergram.
Yeah.
I guess that's what does it nowadays. I mean,
what does Peter say to that? He's like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be a guy or something. It was just a service. They sent who they sent.
We do get some classic quotes here, though. My gym's worth over $4 million. Your gym isn't worth 4. Another one, like, I built this temple out of hard work, elbow grease, and a large inheritance from my father, Earl Goodman.
He's so funny. What I really love about these parts and this whole opening and the movie in general, the pace. The pace of the movie moves so well, and the jokes are never like, I don't know, when you watch Austin Powers, it's bit, scene to progress plot. In this movie, it's all plot with the jokes wrapped into it. And they all work really nicely with the plot and the flow of the movie. And this movie's an hour 30. It feels like 25 minutes. Like, it's crazy.
They do a really good job of, I guess, just establishing everybody's like character traits, establishing what the plot is, what the riff's going to be. Like it's all very smooth, and it's definitely not 154 pages.
No,
so
absolutely not.
You can tell, I guess, like Ben Stiller must have like really went to this with a knife, right?
Yeah. Oh, someone definitely did.
Let's move on to the whole brainstorm and car wash scene.
Yeah, the
here,
gotta save Joe's.
Right. So Peter has rounded up 2 employees and then randomly 3 customers to brainstorm how to come up with $50,000. Because that's what I would do. I mean,
you get the guys together in a room and you just start spitballing, right? See what comes out.
This eventually leads us to the guys holding a car wash the same day as what I assume is a sorority car wash, because I guess that was like a really big trope in the 2000s.
Yeah. Like,
so
who knew would be on the same day?
Oh golly. Let's pause here and talk bits.
Right. I don't have a lot written down for this part specifically, other than the Canadian dollars.
Yeah, that's literally the first one I have written down too.
He's like, oh, why don't we just pay it in Canadian dollars and save ourselves some money? It's like, actually, that's not how that works.
But like at the time, 12-year-old me is like, oh, it's like a really good idea. I don't know if you caught this or not, but Justin Long says he can't work out at his high school because they'll stuff him in lockers and wait for it, make him eat clay.
You got to assume it's from the art class, right? From the art department. And they're just making him eat art clay.
Is this something that bullies did in high school? It's like, oh, let's get him, pin him down and make him eat clay.
Well, the bullies and Step Brothers make him eat white dog shit. So
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Clay is just so random.
It's probably just whatever you have on hand at the time, right?
They just... Was it Bruiser ordered too much clay again? God damn it.
Well, we raided the art locker, the art supply room.
Yeah, you know what? That's what it was. They were looking for the art teacher's pot.
Yeah, definitely. There you
Took
go.
all of his clay instead.
You figured it out.
There's a little throwaway where Gordon goes, "We actually lost money doing the car wash."
What? No, it's like the only customer we've had all day is that weird guy who keeps paying Justin to wash his car over and over. So strange.
Kudos to him for like doing it though. I mean, clay must really taste awful, right?
Yeah, it does.
So they come back to Average Joe's gym and find Globo Gym White Goodman cutout with free trial passes. That's hilarious troll. I have a question for you here too. As Peter walks away, preparing to listen to the Thong Song and tear the place apart, Gordon brings up the $50,000 prize for Dodgeball. Chaps, my first question to you is, do you know the Thong Song by Cisco?
I don't.
That came out in 1999.
I do not.
Okay. The visual of Vince Vaughn listening to this is hilarious in and of itself.
Can you sing a little bit of the thong song for me?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I can't remember what it is.
Let's skip ahead here. We have White Goodman, very hungry for a tasty donut in front of him.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell
He's like shocking himself, right?
Do you want to tell the listeners what part of his body is being shocked?
He's got the cables on his nipples.
He does. He has nipple clamps on.
A lot of nipple jokes with Ben Stiller, eh? Well, I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
We also get one of my favorite bits of the movie here. White reading the dictionary.
Yeah.
He's coming down the stairs. Oh, you caught me. I like to get a mental sweat too.
Yo, you reading the dictionary? I love it because he has that stupid fucking painting, which is actually kind of sick, of him wrestling a bull or whatever it is. He's like, that actually happened though, about his painting.
He does this a couple times. Like when he's putting the moves on Kate, he's like, some shackles in the back. And he goes, just kidding.
I'm just doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, seriously, I do.
That's where he has I wrote this down. He has a fucking creepy ass fucking laugh. He goes, ha, ha, ha. Like, it's so gross. You're like, oh my God, get away from this man.
Another good one is Catherine, I think, throws up in her mouth a bit. And she says it, and he goes, in some cultures, they only eat vomit.
I read about it in a book. There's another one too, though. What's he say to her? Because she turns him down a bunch of times, and he's like, "Oh, I get it. You have a personality," and he puts personality in air quotes. It's just like, this guy's such a douche.
It's so good. Okay. We come back and we're watching the ADAA Dodgeball educational video with Patches O'Houlihan.
Played by
Hank Azaria.
Yes.
So good. I'm so glad you brought that up because he absolutely crushes this role. Like that is just
so funny.
It's top-notch casting.
Oh, it's great.
His emphasis on like Winston here.
Yeah. Because he's kind of doing, what is it, almost the transatlantic, transatlantean accent, the old timey voice.
It's so good. I did not know who that was until like recently watching it.
Yeah, I didn't notice either, but I looked it up like immediately. I was like, that's fucking what's his face, and yeah, it was Hank Azaria.
It also just makes me laugh because I had no idea like he was so jacked.
Yeah.
He's like low-key swole.
Yeah. Well, so is Ben Stiller. Like Ben Stiller looks pretty good too. Like
I love it. Yeah, this video.
There's one thing that I really love about this video. It's our first introduction to the amazing sound a dodgeball makes when it hits somebody in the face. I fucking love this noise, and it just plays all throughout the rest of the movie, and it's just so satisfying. Anytime someone gets beamed with the ball, it's just that ping, like that noise. It's so great. Add in some sound effects here for the dodgeball. Like, hats off to the sound guy.
I love that you brought that up. It's so funny. As you're saying it, I can hear it in my head.
I can picture it in my mind too, and it just makes you think, like, is there any other noise that is as satisfying in other movies? Like, I started thinking, like, you think of some of the bonks you get in like certain, I don't know, slapsticky comedies and stuff like that. This movie the ball noise is great.
It's so good. Perfect transition to discussing the regional match here against Troop 417.
Yes.
They think it's Boy Scouts, it's Girl Scouts. Hilarious. Kate shows up, which is honestly kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But it's because she wants to play.
Do you think she
100%.
low-key actually like
I
wants to
think
play?
100% she wanted. She's like, oh, dodgeball. Like, that sounds fun.
She's
like,
got the whole like softball
exactly,
background.
softball background. This is also where Gordon's family comes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Gordon, your family's here. He's like, what's he say? I remarried 3 years ago. You know, one of those internet mail order things. He's like, how's that been? It's great. Really great.
It's good. Good emphasis.
I love Gordon.
The two kids look exactly like him
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Again, like great job casting. I guess really, you know what? I take that back. They just took two kids and put glasses on them.
Exactly. They just put oversized frames on them and I called it a day.
Eldest for love.
Yeah.
Still say that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Ellis for love.
So they play. They get their fucking shit kicked in.
Yeah. The Troop 417 wasn't fucking around.
They weren't fucking around. Brings me to my next question for you, chaps. These girls aren't fucking around. They're clearly crushing it. How far into the Vegas bracket do you think they make it?
Like
If they are-
Troop 417?
If they're not DQ'd, like, are we talking quarters, like semis?
I think they come up against that like one
Flying
team.
Cougars?
Yeah, I think they make it there,
Yeah.
and that's it.
They're like
I think
they're
it's a hard
throwing
battle
heat.
between the Cougars and like because honestly, Joes don't win that match unless Gordon gets angry.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So we'll get there.
I have a
We'll
whole
get
ton of
there.
problems with that, so we'll put a pin in that.
We'll get there.
All right. So we're out with the average Joes here. We're celebrating at the Dirty Sanchez.
I yeah, we're at the Dirty Sanchez, but Troop 417. You forgot to mention they get DQ'd.
They get DQ'd, yeah.
Because one of their players tested in a random drug screening process, tested for 3 separate types of anabolic steroids and a low-grade beaver tranquilizer.
I love that you wrote it down. It's so good.
Well, this is one of those quotes that over the years I have been getting wrong because I don't know, your mind just forgets it. But
Yeah,
we always say horse tranquilizer, but it's actually
yeah.
beaver. And the low-grade beaver tranquilizer kind of makes it way better.
It kind of does. It's funny because I don't, when I think of that quote, like I don't hear that part. I hear the part that follows, which is like, God damn you, Bernice. And then
Yeah,
you just
and
hear
then you
a man crying.
God damn you, Bernice. All right.
Okay, let's go back to the Dirty Sanchez.
Yes.
Pause. We really need to keep a running list of movie bars.
Yeah, Dirty Sanchez is great. What was the one from Bad Trip? The electric something.
The Electric Cowboy.
Yeah.
The one from, That's My Boy.
Oh, fuck. What was it called?
Bacon and Legs?
That's the strip club. Yeah, Bacon and Legs.
Yeah, that counts. Strip
Yeah,
clubs are
yeah,
bars.
That's true.
Strip clubs are bars, bro. Be cool.
One thing I want to mention before we get into the bar stuff is, because this is just a random note I have. Peter LaFleur. Great name. We haven't touched on how good some of these names are in the movie.
Pretty good name.
Peter LaFleur is a great name, but I think it's literally only Peter LaFleur for the joke that comes later with White. Also, White Goodman's a great name too.
I was going to say White Goodman to me is the name. Okay, I'll set the scene here for you because we have a slew of like quotes here.
Yes.
Kate and Peter are flirting. You know, there's sparks going on here. When who should enter? White Goodman to rain on LaFleur's parade.
The Purple Cobras.
This is where we're introduced to the Purple Cobras. I don't know if you remember all of their names.
Yes.
Okay, please take it away.
Blade.
Yep.
Laser.
Yep.
Blazer.
Yep.
My consigliere, Michelle.
Now I can't wait for you to tackle this one.
Fuck. I can't remember. I can't pronounce her name, but she's from Romanovia.
Fran Stelinoskovich Davovishki.
Yeah, I love that because there's a really good moment where he says the first part of the last name, and you think he's done, but then it goes on.
I had to actually put hyphens in between, like, what is it, like 8 syllables in that name?
so you can figure out how to
pronounce it.
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with some of your favorite quotes here because there's a slew of them.
Peter, as soon as they come in, Peter just goes, "Oh, I didn't know Nazi camp gets out at 8."
Yeah, that's the one, right? Pack it up, that's the one. And what does he say? You just had to skip arts and crafts.
Yeah. That one's really great. And then also just the way that he introduces the team. Like we already said their names, but Blade, Laser, and Blazer.
One of them like what bites at
Yeah,
it.
he like does like a little snake bite. He kind of looks like Val Kilmer a little bit.
Yeah, a
that
little
guy.
bit, eh?
He's got the Kilmer hairdo going on.
Here's one for you. Kate says, "I'm off the clock," and White says, "Well, isn't that convenient for you?" And the clock.
I also really love when they introduce Fran from her home country of Romanovia. She just beams the guy who's chilling next to the jukebox with a dodgeball, and again another great noise, great sound effect.
So good. What Justin Long's like fucking punk ass. I think he's really dead. I didn't notice this either until this watch, but White shoves the waitress, I guess, as she's walking
Yeah,
by,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's got like a full fucking tray of food.
Yeah,
beers.
because he says something too. What does he say? Hope you don't get dirty or something like that, or something.
Sure.
Along the, like a shitty like pun thing, and then he is an asshole and pushes the waitress.
But I don't know if you noticed this. When she falls and covers the entire team in food, there's a guy in the background who fucking loses it.
I did not notice that. That's actually hilarious.
Like he's just chilling there in the background. He's like pointing and laughing. I'm like, yo, that guy, he snuck that in there for sure. Right?
The extra, he's like, oh shit, that was actually really funny.
So this is where Peter LaFleur is going to meet Patches O'Houlihan. Next thing you know, we're at practice the next day. We get a fun series of shots here as Patches basically fucks up Vince Vaughn and his crew.
Justin Long would be fucking dead from that wrench shot. Holy shit. They're like maybe 10 feet apart, and he hurls a gigantic metal wrench at Justin Long's face. And like Justin Long sells this so because he's on the ground for quite a while, writhing in pain. Like, I don't think he could play in the tournament. I don't think
he can speak properly.
Yeah,
after that. There might not be a funnier scene in the movie than when he hawks that fucking wrench
so
at
good.
him.
If you could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. It's like one of the most all-time lines of any movie.
It's so good. This is a really popular one too. I don't know why, because it's fucking gross. Is it necessary that I drink my own urine? No, but I do it anyways because it's sterile and I like the taste.
Who's the guy playing Old Patches? He looks
Rip Torn.
Right, that's it. Okay, yeah.
Of course, the compilation of Justin Long just getting fucking crushed by dodgeballs. I remember seeing this in theaters, and this is the scene that fucking sent me as a kid.
Oh yeah, this was the best part. This is slapstick. This is people getting hurt. People getting hurt is never not going to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's always going to make me laugh.
Like Gordon getting fucking crushed in traffic.
Yeah, he dodges one car, gets hit by one, and then says he's okay, gets crushed by another.
That's another great sound effect too. Like when people get hit by cars, but not seriously.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah, but they're okay.
In movies.
Yeah,
when they get hit by movie cars.
Yeah, people. I don't want anybody getting hit by an actual car.
Or wrenches.
Or
wrenches. Stay
yeah.
out of the way of wrenches. Like, they'll fuck you up. One of my thoughts, though, during this sequence, I was like, just imagine being on set all day and having to get hit by a dodgeball constantly.
So, I mean, did you hear what happened to Justin Long?
No.
Like, he temporarily went blind.
Because he got hit by a wrench so fucking hard?
Anyway, before we move on, anything else? Did I miss anything? I think we covered just about...
I want to know more about Justin Long maybe being temporarily blind. Like, that actually happened? Or is there more to the... Like, what happened? Was it the dodgeballs?
Yeah, I think just taking, like, dodgeballs to the dome all day.
That's so... Yeah. Imagine just you're an actor and the director's like, all right, we're going to go for one more. And it's already take 37. And you've taken...
Yeah, like honestly, I really recommend you go and read that piece by The Ringer because there's so many like facts like this, and again, like save for time, I can't go through all of them, but it's a really good read.
Oh, definitely, I'll definitely check it out.
Okay, so this whole sequence ends on Gordon throwing balls at White Goodman's cutout. This is where we see Kate and her wicked toss.
Yeah, she's got a fucking
softball. She takes that head like clear off, right?
Yeah. Clean break of the cardboard cutout head. It's all. Did they ever figure out that he was spying on them?
I don't think so.
Because it's funny because she takes the head off with her throat, and then the head just hangs there because it's got a fucking cord attached to it because it's got a camera in the back, and like no one brings it up.
Well, fucking Owen's not figuring that out. That's for sure. Okay, I want to skip ahead here, but of course I'd be remiss to omit the very next scene, which is White Goodman shoving a slice of pizza down his pants.
Yeah, that was one of the. Again, this is when I brought it up earlier, PG-13, and I still have questions. This isn't a question I still have. Why?
He's just heating it up, bro. What do you mean?
He's torturing himself, basically. He's like, he wants to feel it. It's really weird.
How did the piece of pizza look to you?
It looked tasty.
Yeah.
I don't want it afterwards, though.
Yeah, pervert. Okay, this leads us into like one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. White Goodman shows up in a white leather suit. He's at Kate's house. He's like about to put on that White Goodman charm. We get so many classic lines here. He reveals to Kate she's fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's fully expecting her to jump into bed with him, metaphorically and literally. When all of a sudden,
so gross.
When all of a sudden, enter Peter LaFleur with 2 expired movie coupons and a coupon for 1 free back massage from Peter LaFleur.
Yep.
Take it away. What do you got for me?
This is one of those scenes where I remember it differently than when it actually was. You know what I mean? The no one makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
That's the one. And then I always use I thought he snaps his fingers and goes Michelle, but he doesn't. He just snaps his fingers and Michelle shows up,
which is better,
like,
right?
Way better. Like It's so good. And then when Peter finally goes in Kate's house, it's like Unicorn Central in there. It's fucking.
Can we talk about this? This is such a weird decision.
But I don't know. I feel like there are like
it makes her like an outcast, I guess. 'Cause it's like not an outcast, but kind of like, oh, there's like a little bit of like weird underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
she's
what I
not
mean? Just
so,
like the rest of them.
Yeah, she's not so. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it is. She's not like a perfect person kind of thing. Like she's a bit of a weirdo like the rest of the gang.
Like she's a misfit just like the rest of the Joes, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Sure.
Is this the part where also we get Vince Vaughn says, "Come on, Kate, time to put our balls where your mouth is." When he's asking her to join the dodgeball team.
Sure.
I think so. It's one of those weird lines. It's like it's funny, inappropriate, but kind of funny.
All right. We are officially at our midpoint here. We are in Vegas.
Vegas time, baby.
We're introduced to perhaps two of the all-time supporting
I fucking wrote this down too.
secondary characters of all time.
Wrote the exact same thing down. I love how serious the broadcast is. First of all, because they just cut to Vegas, like the Strip, and you have the ESPN 8, the Ocho logos come in, and it's like the Dodgeball World Championships and stuff like that, and then you get Cotton McKnight and Pepper Brooks. Just names alone are amazing.
The names are. This is my favorite Jason Bateman role.
100%. After watching it, like Jason Bateman kills it. Like I feel like he thought he was. In his mind, he probably thought this was like ridiculous and like it's never going to work, but it fucking works so.
It works so well
in this movie. And there's one thing they say right off the bat, like it's going to be the biggest showdown since this, that, and World War II combined. It's like holy shit.
So they give us the lowdown. 4 wins get you to the finals. 5th win gets you to that sweet $50K. Cotton.
Pepper Brooks.
The camera moves through the locker room here where we catch a sneak peek of some of the teams.
This is very Beer Fest-esque.
It is,
Does Beer Fest come after this
It does
movie?
come after
Which
this, yeah.
is probably a little bit inspired by, because you kind of get that same sort of vibe of like, oh, there's the Canadian team. They're all lumberjacks. And there's the team from Japan smacking each other's bellies and getting fired up.
Yeah, we get the Lumberjacks.
The Germans, like...
With the Hasselhoff.
Yeah, that's actually so funny.
It's really funny. That one aged okay. I'll accept it.
That one's great. I also just love that he has, like, when they beat them, he has the picture of himself like on a beach, and I don't know what he was fucking screaming in German at them, but it was really fun.
How about Skills That Kills?
Yeah.
Sure.
The hip hop group.
I used to also put a Z at the end of everything in 2004. So
that or a really cool S. Remember the snake S?
Yeah, I do remember the snake S.
Or not the snake S, but the pointy S. Everyone knows what the cool S is.
They know what the cool S is. Eventually, we land on Average Joe's, where Owen unveils their new uniforms. Do you want to take it away from here?
Yeah, where they get all the gimp suits.
Jesus Christ.
And it's just really funny. It's just like classic. Oh, there was a mix up with the package delivery. You got this, what is it, BDSM kit, and that convention got the Average Joe's uniforms.
I think what gets me the most is that they fully commit to the uniforms. Like they could have just gone away with like the shirts and the pants, but instead,
because Gordon has the rule book and he says no team can play unless they have matching uniforms.
No, I just mean like they could have gone out with like just a black leather shirt and black leather pants, but like Vince Vaughn is still wearing the daddy choker.
Yeah. They could have like what's Owen? Owen has the fucking the bar mouth thing. Oh my god, it's so funny.
So good. Game on. You want to talk real fast about this first matchup?
Yeah, there's a great play-by-play call. I think it might be Pepper. He says, "Good toss by the submissive."
Yeah, he does. And it is Justin Long.
But no, this is great because you start to see some the teams getting better. Justin gets an elimination before getting taken out.
So I'm going to pause on that. What do you think the line is on this guy getting anybody out? Like Justin Long hitting anybody with a ball?
He's not. It's like the odds are
like plus 10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the equivalent of like when Biz Nasty was playing hockey and you bet like on him to score a goal and $5 would pay like 5,000.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then you get Kate with the ESPN turning point where she catches the ball. It's so good.
We're left with a double play to bring Vince Vaughn back in. We get a 2-on-1. Joe's win.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip ahead to the next game, but a few things first. Let's talk little recap between Patches and Peter here.
Mm-hmm.
he gives him his gross towel thing.
I thought he already gave him it. Like, I'm pretty sure he gives him to him at a different point in the movie as well. Because I thought he already gave, when I was watching, I was like, he gave him that already. There's another point in the movie where he hands him his gross ass towel rag thing.
I might have missed that, but this is what I have here. Followed by my next bullet point. I've got some hookers in my room.
Your Patch's voice is really great. We might have missed it. I can't remember if this happens here or when they get to the Salacious 16. But one of the announcers, I think it is after the first game, because he goes, Average Joe's has shocked the Dodgeball pundits and made it where we separate the awkwardly feminine from the possibly Canadian.
I was wondering if you were going to put that down. It's here that we also see Amber, Justin's high school crush, is also in Vegas.
Yeah, for the cheerleading
championships. No doy.
No doy.
Do you catch what? Do you catch what Justin Long says to Amber's boyfriend?
No.
He goes, "Sweet do, man."
He's so awkward around that guy. What is Dwight? Do I say he's gonna probably fall off that roller coaster, break every bone in his body?
He does say that. Yeah,
I think he does.
That's so good. Okay, what follows is a bit of a montage of wins, I guess, en route to the finals.
Yep.
Let's start with our first matchup. We have Joe's versus Lumberjacks, Global Gym versus Kamikazes.
Yes.
So I don't know what happened in like a 14-hour span, but suddenly this team's like firing on all cylinders. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kate's still crushing. She's MVP.
She's still crushing it, but like everybody else is throwing fucking bullets.
Except they're not actually hitting who they're supposed to hit, because the pirate beams that guy in the audience.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah.
Well, Peter's sniping, though. Peter's making some good plays.
Chaps, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Can I get a timber, because this Lumberjack team is going down?
My God. I'm not going to do it.
Okay. Globo Gym. Chemistry still off the charts. We see a move here that you and I have tried to master in pickleball.
Yeah, the peekaboo. Peekaboo.
And last but not least for me, he tells Suzuki Toyota Oshinawa that this is my dojo. It's like so inappropriate, but again, like I mean, we're rolling with the punches here, right? Like this is, in a way, it's like, it's a parody, sure. I'll let it slide.
Yeah.
Anything else stand out here in these two matches?
Yeah, game 3, I think this is the Globo Gym game against a team from Japan, but Pepper goes, I don't know how they can play in diapers. I never could.
Like those guys just, I guarantee you they came to set for one day. They got them for one day and they just riffed the entire time, filmed it, and then just took what they liked.
What's really great about Pepper's character too, and I noticed this first on this watch, he has a dodgeball tattoo on his neck. And it's a dodgeball with flames on it, and it's sick.
That sounds pretty sick.
Yeah.
New Halloween costume for you and me this October?
Yeah, Pepper and Cotton.
Yeah, which one do you want to be?
Pepper.
All right, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Everyone wants to be Pepper.
Okay, next matchup, Joe's versus Skills That Kills. We see more dancing than dodging, which just leaves me wondering, how did this team even make it this far?
Yeah, they're just like dancing the whole time, and they're not even that good dance moves either. Just
like who did they beat to make it to the next round? I have no idea.
They beat Troop 416.
Yeah, well, I mean, they would have had to win 2 matchups, right? But sure, this is what I mean. If Troop 417 had this...
Troop 417 is going to beat this beaten Skills with whatever. Skills That Kills, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Troop 417 is wiping the floor with them.
Yeah. Semifinals, Global Gym versus Las Vegas PD. This is a pretty good bit. Global Gym's cruising along here. White whips the ball. One cop jumps in front of the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Got me. It got a little chuckle out of me.
That's right, because that does come back later.
Okay, so this is the big one here. This is where we see a little bit of doubt. Average Joe's against the Flying Cougars.
Yeah, game 4.
Thoughts?
It's a little crazy that Gordon gets. I mean, first of all, it's a little crazy that they beat this team. These are college athletes.
So this is what
all I can assume. Like these guys are. These are D1 college athletes. These guys are going to beat Globo Gym as well.
Yeah,
like 100%.
100%.
Like there's no way anyone's getting past them. I don't think.
This is how I describe this team. This is what an intramural team filled with college athletes looks like when they're looking to have some fun in the off season.
Yeah, exactly.
They make a team, they join an intramural league, and they beat the pants off of fucking everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But then Gordo gets fucking angry and goes on an absolute MVP worthy tear and gets 5 straight eliminations.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
I mean, sure. Like, for the movie's sake, sure. This is never happening in real life.
But it's also like, this is another moment from Beer Fest as well that I'm like, Beer Fest stole this right out of Dodgeball's playbook because when what's-his-face gets angry and is able to chug faster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Say it. Say it. Say the line.
All right. We're moving on to Quokon McKnight. It must be the luck of the Irish. So we see the team walking through the casino here. Patches says, oh, fuck, I actually wrote this down. Patches says, tomorrow we're going to pecker slap those Globo Gym bastards.
Yeah. And then a fucking casino sign smushes him.
Oh, my God.
It's so fucked.
Yeah, this is where we get the giant. It's a leprechaun on it too, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So good. 2 tons of irony, I think, is what Peter says.
Yeah.
So this is obviously taking a massive toll on Peter as he's pounding back a drink at the bar. He fucking bails, only to find White Goodman in his room waiting for him.
This is so funny. This whole sequence is great.
Take it away.
I don't have it all written down, but White's bribe to him is just perfect. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna give you money. Here's $100,000 kind of thing. And the way he's like, I know you, you know you, and I know that you know that I know you know you. It's just so good.
It's so good.
And then you show the classic opening the briefcase, and he's like, I'm not sure if you've ever seen $100,000, but it's not like the movies. It's just a little wad, just a tiny little wad of money.
To me, this is such a smart bit.
Oh yeah, it's classic. Like it's perfect.
So we leave this scene on a cliffhanger. Does he take the money?
We don't know.
I don't know. So clearly, like, we've hit the point in the movie now where everyone's crumbling.
Yep.
Peter's possibly showing his true colors. He's coming at the team about losing. He throws Steve the Pirate against the fucking wall.
You see, that for me, it's out of character. It's so out of character, and it kind of strikes me as like wrong for the movie when I see him throw him against the wall and he's like, "You're not a fucking pirate," or whatever he says to him. It's just so not the Peter we know. And there's been no inkling that this guy is ever like this. Like, he's always seems to be happy-go-lucky, rolls with the punches, takes it as it comes, and just has faith that things will work out. And if not, he doesn't care. Like, he's fine with it not working out.
I mean, maybe he just has like all that pent-up anger from when Steve the Pirate fucking shoved him against the wall and put his knife to his throat.
Yeah,
right?
I forgot. Yeah, that's actually a really good parallel. It just struck me as so weird. But yeah. Strange stuff.
Everybody's striking out here. I mean, even Steve the Pirate, again, like, he gets it from Peter. Later on, he's walking down the Las Vegas Boulevard. He gets a fucking Jamba Juice thrown at him.
Which is kind of crazy because there's a lot more interestingly dressed people on the Vegas Strip than Steve the Pirate. I think he's the most like liberally dressed. Like, he's not that out of place.
No, for sure. I think he's just wrong place, wrong time. Like, that guy's throwing a smoothie at somebody.
That's
no matter
true. You
what.
just came across some asshole who's, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess not everyone's having a bad night, right? Like, Owens, he's making his move on Fran Stelinoskovich Davovinsky.
I love that you keep saying the full name.
So right on. I mean, get it, O-Dog.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, next day, championship match on ESPN The Ocho. LFG, my dude, let's go. We're approaching our climax.
LFG, my dude.
I'll set the stage for you. So Kate goes to grab Peter, and it's clear he's gone. He's checked out on the TV, which I like. That's a nice touch. We see him crushing a pint at the airport with Lance Armstrong.
This is really funny to me. The fucking audacity of Lance Armstrong.
So hey, let me run through it all, and we'll circle back. Justin runs into Amber, and she tells him she needs him to fill in for the cheerleading finals. Do you remember why?
Yeah, because what's-his-face falls off the roller coaster and broke every bone in his body.
Exactly. And we see that Steve the Pirate is MIA. Yeah. This is a funny
because Owen doesn't know who Steve the Pirate is all of a sudden, which is like it's really funny, but it's also just so weird at the same time.
Right. And then finally, Purple Cobras, they take the court. Average Joe's about to be DQ'd. So let's circle back here. What's got you laughing?
There's just an irony of Lance Armstrong's speech to Peter that in today's day, because you know that he did have cancer and that's awful and he battled through that, but then he won 5 tours on steroids, so it's like, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like at the time though they picked the perfect person for
Oh
this,
yeah,
right?
he's
Like,
great at it. He works in this movie, and yeah, he gives Peter the talk he needs. He makes him realize he has to go help the team, right?
Like, do you remember how big he was? Do you remember the Livestrong bracelets?
Oh yeah, dude, everyone was wearing those things. And honestly, I don't know how mad I am at him for taking steroids.
Everybody takes steroids.
Everyone
You
takes
got
steroids.
caught.
Yeah, you got caught.
Yeah.
I think sports would be a lot more fun if everyone was just on steroids.
Yeah, that's a topic for another time for sure.
Yeah, but when we get to the team in the arena and they're going to be forfeiting, you get one of the best lines from Pepper all night. And it looks like average Joes are going to be forfeiting the game. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. It's so good.
He will not be able to see. That comes later, but it's still just it rivals that one for best
will not
one.
be able to see.
I mean, on that note, let's talk finals. Double fault, sudden death.
Double fault. No, well, you're skipping over Bill Shatner as the chairman and Chuck Norris giving the final vote for the play.
Hit me with all of it. I mean,
think it's just hilarious. Like, why is Bill Shatner the chairman? And I'm pretty sure I don't think they ever say his name, but they might refer to him as Shatner. I don't know. But he's got the scepter. It's like this most random thing ever. And then, of course, there's this is one of my favorite White Goodman lines. Gordo, obviously, rule book stickler as he is, knows there's a bylaw. There's a bylaw that says if the panel of judges or whatever overturns the chairman's decision, the teams can play. And White goes, bylaw? What's a bylaw?
I like that he has the book like on him too. Like, you're about to take the court and play the game. Why do you have the book in your pocket?
It's so funny. The way he says, what's a bylaw?
How pissed would you be if you showed up to watch this game and then one of the teams was going to DQ?
Oh, it'd be so
like,
annoying.
first of all, it's Vegas, so you paid like $1,000 for this ticket.
Yeah, but tell them all to cram it up a cram hole and play the game.
Also, do you remember how big Chuck Norris was after this movie?
I feel like around this time, Chuck Norris was just huge because what was that internet video that came out? The Ultimate Fight of Ultimate Destiny or whatever. You remember that internet video?
So did that come first or did it follow?
I don't know.
There was like a Chuck Norris like phenomenon going on.
He became so popular
the
out of
jokes,
nowhere.
the bits. He was all over like Newgrounds and Funny Junk.
I knew way too much about Chuck Norris as a 12-year-old. And like we would have Chuck Norris fights on the playground. Like, oh, I'm Chuck Norris. No, I'm Chuck Norris. I didn't even know who fucking Chuck Norris was.
Not me either. I knew him from this movie as
exactly.
what, 12, 11, 13?
This
I don't know how
movie
old I was.
and that video, that Ultimate Fighting video.
So crazy. Can we talk White's reaction to when he actually hits Peter LaFleur? Hands go over the mouth. He's like a prom queen. Like,
yeah. So he's got some really great facial expressions throughout this movie because there's the part where Fran and Owen, they like run at each other at the line and they stop short and they're like gazing into each other's eyes and they both get hit and White just goes, Jody loves Chachi and runs away. Like he does this really weird face and like runs away, like runs back to safety kind of thing. It's so funny. Then, I was gonna say later, it comes down to Vince, Kate, and no, I can't remember who does it come down to before
it's
the
Vince,
double
Michelle, and White Goodman.
because Cotton goes something like, "It's a menage a trois." Pepper's like, "Usually you pay double for that kind of action, Cotton."
Okay, so let's bring it up. 50-1 odds. Like, we're just going to choose to ignore the fact that no book takes that, right?
That's pretty crazy.
The team captain of one of the two teams in the match
I don't
bets
think you
on
can do
himself
Yeah.
at 50-1 odds to win $5 million. No book takes that, right?
Hey, it's Vegas, baby.
I mean, that's it. I'm more curious, if that's the case, what are the odds that on a sudden death victory, right?
If you live bet that match right then, what can you take home? Do the odds go up when Peter puts the blindfold on? Like they got it, right? They got to like skyrocket at that.
They fucking lock the odds. You're not getting that. There's no way. Funny we say that though, because only one person decides to call out Peter putting the blindfold over his eyes, and it's fucking Dwight, and it's such a throwaway line too.
What's he say?
He just says like, that was kind of weird that you put the blindfold on.
I love that. This is also where we get the, you're going down, la loser.
I mean, we're at the end here. Hit me with your final thoughts.
It's just great. There's so many great lines in this last segment alone is like just so fucking funny. Like Cotton, at one point, he's talking about the sudden death match, and he goes, "Dilemma, thy name is Dodgeball." And it's just like, where are they getting this dialogue from? It's so great. For me, it's just such a fun movie because all the characters are super interesting. They each have these great little quirks that feel kind of a bit surreal at times, but very lived in, and the pace is perfect. From the drop, it just gets going, and the jokes and gags work into the storyline, all that. There's only a couple of times where the writing feels a bit out of touch.
Yeah.
And it's when they're trying to straddle that line of innuendo versus not kind of thing, and it just sort of falls flat. It comes off a little gross, and you're like, that's weird. Maybe don't say that. But I mean, I don't know. This really is just a story about how to win a huge bet. No parlay needed. It's amazing.
It's an excellent segue into this little game I have for you.
Okay, what do you got for me?
I know you're dying to know. So first, I'm going to hit you with some context to work with.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're what, like 10 episodes into this podcast now?
Yeah.
So I've gone ahead and constructed 3 teams of characters from movies that we've already covered.
Ooh.
I want you to tell me if you think this Average Joe's team, coming off a sudden death victory here
Right.
in Vegas, can win a 1-game winner-takes-all matchup.
Right.
Okay, team 1, Austin Powers. So we got Powers, Vanessa, Dr. Evil, number 2, Scott, and Frau.
Joe's beat them all the way.
That's no question.
No question. Joe's beat them all the way. I don't think no one has an arm on that team. Like you got Kate, you got Peter, Steve the Pirate's coming into his own. Justin's even getting eliminations. I don't think that team wins.
Fair enough. Team number 2, That's My Boy.
Okay.
We got Donnie Berger, Han Solo Berger, Leighton Meester, Chad, Uncle Vanny, and lastly, the grandma, but she's wearing the old-timey bathing suit.
I think
She's got the old-timey bathing suit on.
I think this is a good matchup because I think Donnie Berger and Uncle Vanny are like holding down the team. You know, Han Solo is a fucking liability for sure. This is a close match, but I do think Joe's will win.
Okay. I mean, does Donnie drop his beer though?
No, Donnie, not a drop of beer spilled.
He's throwing bullets with
And he's also opening 4 cans during the game.
All right, last but not least, Blades of Glory.
Mm-hmm.
Chaz Michael-Michaels, Jimmy, Strauns and Fairchild, Katie, and Hector.
Who's Hector?
Nick Swardson.
Oh. I just don't think the team's well-rounded enough to beat the Joes after they have all this experience and stuff. They've just come off that win. They're hot. I think Joes win against all 3 of those teams.
You think so? I'm just mean...
What did you think?
To me, this is the closest matchup. Chad Michael-Michaels, like, he isn't dodgeball. He is figure skating.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I feel like Strauns and Fairchild, you know?
Yeah.
They work well. They got that built-in chemistry already.
That's fair.
I'd probably give it to Joe's, though.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll do funniest scenes.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you're enjoying the episode, share it with a friend and follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube.
And we're back. Okay, we're talking funniest scenes. Chaps, kick it off.
All right. I have, these are just some of my favorites. The dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball sequence is probably just right up there with some of the best stuff in the movie.
That's my number 1.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest, Justin Long getting beamed in the skull with a wrench is my number 1.
So good. The introduction of the purple cobras in the bar is pretty great. Like that whole sequence of laser and
that's
and blazer.
my number 3. Absolutely.
My favorite though is it came out at the very end, but when White says, "What's a bylaw?" Like just the way he says it, like it's so funny to me because this guy's an idiot. He's never heard the word bylaw. He doesn't know anything about that. He's like, "What's a bylaw?"
I mean, I'll admit I didn't have that one on my list,
So
but I can't deny it. We skipped over my number 2, which would be just the entire scene of Kate's house. Like White showing up. The suit is ridiculous. Like the physical comedy. I think she slams his head against the against the
fucking
house.
like knocks him out.
The way he snaps and Michelle just shows up. Like it's just all perfect.
Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff.
MVC, who is it?
I think it goes to Stiller in this one.
It goes to Stiller, but I think we got to shout out the duo of Jason Bateman and I can't remember that guy's name, Cotton McKnight.
Yeah. No, that's a good call because once they get introduced, it's some of the most ridiculous stuff in the movie, but the best as well. Like, I don't know, there's something about them. They're just the way Pepper is fantastic. He's just like kind of out to lunch, but he must have been an old dodgeball star or something.
Sure.
That's what I'm picking up because he's got the dodgeball tattoo. He's really into the sport. He's the color commentator. He's just there he's there because he needs a paycheck and he loves dodgeball.
Yeah, give me the origin movie of them, I guess, as undergrads in sports management.
Honestly, though, like if we're talking prequel movies, Dodgeball prequel with Pepper as the main character, and he's like the star, like he plays on a team, like he's like a professional dodgeball player, isn't bad. Isn't half bad. I'd see that movie.
All right. I've been waiting all episode to know what your New Year's resolutions are. So please.
Well, not New Year's resolutions. These are movie resolutions.
Yes.
These are movie resolutions. The time has come.
Sorry, cut back on snacking isn't on the list.
No, it's not. Not yet. But yeah, my movie resolutions. When you came to me with this idea, I was like, this is really interesting because I try to do this sort of myself every year, anyways. But I don't think I was ever specific enough to like actually do or change my movie viewing habits. But because I say it every year, my whole thing is always like, I want to see more new movies, things I'm not used to watching, things I won't normally go out and see. But I just keep saying that, like, watch more new movies, and that's just too fucking vague of a resolution.
No, I really like that because it kind of ties into what my first one is too.
I haven't actually said mine yet.
Oh, I thought it was just see new movies.
No, that's like that was me saying like I always say that every year, and I never do it because it's so vague of a goal of a resolution.
I'm sorry. Please.
So my thing is, I want to see one new release in theaters a month. So 12 new releases in theaters a month, and that's just putting a number on it, right? So,
okay.
Yeah,
I like that though. That's good. That's good.
That's my first one.
It does tie into what I was going to say, which is of course, I did this last year too, and I met that goal. I want to watch 5 classics that I've never seen before.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So last year I watched, I think more than 5, but to name a few, I'd never seen the first Rambo.
Okay.
Smokey and the Bandit, hilarious. And I'd never seen the first Roadhouse either. So yeah, this year I want to do that again. I know there's like a long laundry list of movies. I've never seen Jaws, which is crazy.
Damn, that's pretty wild to me. Start there.
Yeah, number 2.
That one. Oh, my number 2. Yeah. My number 2 is more of like a personal thing. Like I want to put my phone in another room while watching movies at home, unless I have deemed this as a background movie. You know, like so many times I'll put on a movie and then halfway through I'll just pick up my phone. I'll forget about the movie, even though I might have been interested in it. So when I sit down to intentionally watch a movie, I want to put my phone in another room and just tune in. You know what I mean? To like really enjoy it.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. My number 2 is I like to explore a new genre.
Okay.
So I'm thinking Westerns.
I thought you were going to say horror.
No.
You went Westerns?
I did. Well, because we touched on this. We touched on this in the very first episode, right?
Yeah.
I've never been interested in them, but like I keep hearing good things about, you know, all the movies like Tombstone and how good Unforgiven is. And like, even if we're going back further, you know, like Butch Cassidy.
Yeah. I mean, as long as The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is, it is a phenomenal movie.
And that's what I mean,
really,
right? Like,
really good.
On the list, of course.
Yeah, that's one of those movies. My dad showed me that movie, and I remember he would put it on all the time, and I was a kid, so I had no appreciation for it. At one point, I hid his DVD of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I forgot where I hid it. So he went out and bought a collector's edition version of the DVD that was like had like extended scenes and it was like a director's cut and all this stuff. And he's like, "Huh, got you now." Like anytime I watch it, it's gonna be this one. Like, so yeah, that's
the closest he can get to saying "fuck you" to his like 5-year-old child.
Exactly. It's funny because years later I did end up finding the DVD and it was like I had hidden it under a shelf somewhere, like so like you couldn't really see it, and I just forgot it there. Yeah. Do you have any other resolution? I only had 2. So.
Yeah, I have one more. I was gifted a few Cineplex gift cards for Christmas.
Nice.
Certainly more than needed. So I'm going to try something I've never done before. I'm going to go to the movies on my own.
I love that for you.
I have seen like so many movies come on like when I was doing trailers or I guess even just reading about upcoming releases.
Yeah.
And I've thought to myself like, oh, you know, I'd really like to see that, but it's not worth paying what you pay now to go to the movies.
Right.
Now I have countless like free movies at hand. You know, my partner, she does travel for work sometimes.
Yep.
And honestly, sometimes our tastes don't mesh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is going to be the year I try it.
I think that's really good because I've done that before a couple times.
Okay.
Seen a movie alone, and it really interesting. I saw Alita: Battle Angel alone in theaters, which is just a sci-fi romp, right? So I enjoyed it. It's like it's a fun experience. You're not beholden to like, oh, I wonder if the person I'm with is gonna like this, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
You're just going and you see something that you really want to see, and there's no like you have to satisfy the other person because they're with you. You know, like they have to see something they want to see too. Like, yeah, it's a cool experience.
Awesome. And yeah, that wraps up my resolutions. This was fun. I had a blast. I feel like
Dodgeball's a good time.
We're starting to revisit some classics here. And not that I haven't enjoyed the movies up until this point, but I mean, Dodgeball will always have like a...
Yeah. I mean, the bracket's starting to round out, right? We're getting a lot more movies in there. I was going to just drop next week. We are doing Neighbors. Not like a classic like Dodgeball in a sense, but it's a really funny movie in its own right, and I really enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, give me more Rogan, right?
More Rogan. I mean, we don't have him yet on the bracket, so it's good to get him in there.
All right.
That's it.